What is up with Mississippi? Why are they the last ones online to deal with this Confederate flag issue? I don't understand it. South Carolina, when they took theirs down, Alabama basically dealt with theirs, and now Mississippi is basically the last one to deal with this. You know, if they were looking for cover, what they should have done was when the other two took theirs down, they should have just jumped in on the bandwagon and just stated that they were doing this for inclusiveness and solidarity with all the people of their state. But I guess that thought never crossed their mind. Anyway, here's a segment on the Roland Martin Show regarding the current protests regarding this particular flag and what they are basically trying to do to get the last bastion of the Confederacy, which is what the flag is supposedly represents. But we believe that it represents something else, and the something else that we believe it represents is racism. And you'll be able to pick up a few tidbits of why we feel that way in this clip.
Nina Simone once sang a song called Mississippi Goddamn. That is a song that many people really focus on in the civil rights movement that express their sentiment about that particular state. Well, on today, being U.S. Flag Day, Mississippi is the only state in the Union that continues to have the Confederate emblem on its state flag. A number of folks have been protesting that, including actress Ingenue Ellis, Congressman Benny Thompson, and many others. And today in the nation's capital, they have a rally on the Capitol grounds called Take It Down America that speaks to this particular issue. Attorney Carlos Moore, who will be at the head of the protest, is suing the state's governor, Phil Bryant, to take down the flag, alleging that it is discriminatory and incites violence. Ingenue has teamed up with him today to lead today's rally. Her grandfather was attacked by KKK members. She joins us with details about today's event, along with Genesis B, a rapper from Mississippi whose grandfather was killed by KKK members for protecting black voters. Genesis, Ingenue, glad to have you on the show.
Glad to be here.
So why is this so you talk about, obviously, both of you impacted your families by the KKK, but to listen to people today who say, look, this is our history, how does it make you feel knowing there's another side of our history?
I think there's a problem in America with seeing other people's perspective. I think growing up in Mississippi, it's hurtful, it's almost traumatic and triggering to see that symbol being flown. For myself, that's how I feel. And when I see my coworkers and my neighbors not acknowledging that hurtful part of the history, it's almost like, how can we move forward if you won't even acknowledge it? How can we reconcile? So everyone might have their own history and their heritage of how they identify with that flag, but we need you to acknowledge that it's not just heritage for you. Like, you have to acknowledge your neighbor's history as well, if we're to unite and live amongst each other in peace.
Yeah, I mean, for one thing, I'm sure you guys here have heard the refrain, it's heritage and not hate. Mm-hmm. Heritage and hate are not antonyms. It is a heritage of hate. And also, heritage is shared. That heritage that you're proud of, that's my heritage as well. The difference is your forefathers and foremothers were burning crosses, and my heritage is that I'm the yard that you burn the cross on.
Here's what I find to be interesting. First of all, I was in Virginia Beach over the weekend and going throughout the stores there. This is a tourist place. Tons of Confederate flags, as swimming trunks, as hats, are hanging from the ceiling there. And at no point was I comfortable because I certainly have a problem with that. But what's amazing to me is that the folks who also cite that history refused to acknowledge that it was General Robert E. Lee, when they actually surrendered, who ordered the troops to furl the flag and store it in attics and never have it appear again. But
all right, that is a very important fact. as part of the symbol of surrender, that flag was supposed to be furled. And then, once it was furled, it was supposed to be put away, never to be unfurled again. It was a sign and symbol of the surrender of the South in the Civil War. Okay, that's fact number one.
Flag didn't, and for 2 generations, that flag was put up, but it wasn't until the Civil Rights Movement
Yeah.
that folks all of a sudden decided to bring it back.
Okay, that's fact number 2. That flag was brought out in direct opposition to the Civil Rights Movement. Why would you bring out a symbol of the Confederacy in order to make a statement of your opposition to the Civil Rights Movement? You could plainly make the statement, but for you to take out a symbol that most black people associate with racism and slavery, that particular act is one that just tells us that racism, white supremacy, was alive and well, and they were waiting for an opportunity in order to demonstrate that. That opportunity was black people trying to do what the majority claims that they wanted done, which was for all Americans to have equal rights. But apparently, some Americans, especially those unfurling that flag, in direct opposition to the black equality movement, felt justified.
Right. It was a reaction to Reconstruction. It was a reaction to the efforts to give black people power.
So it wasn't called our history because that would have been a continuum from Civil Rights Movement to present day. No, it disappeared, and all of a sudden, Civil Rights Movement, let's bring it back because that said something.
Right. It was putting African Americans in their place. And I want to say a couple things. One is, I'm not interested in if that flag is your personal expression, fine. Go ahead, fly it. Sure, there will be iconography
in your yard, on your car.
Whatever you want to do, that's fine. There would be iconography from my heritage that you would not be comfortable with. I mean, would you be comfortable with me flying the Black Power symbol? Would anybody be comfortable with that being the Mississippi state flag? I don't think so. But that is Stokely Carmichael started Black Power in Greenwood, Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
Fact number 3, yeah, that's where the Black Power movement started. But obviously that Black Power symbol would never be incorporated into their flag or any other flag.
I'm sure they would feel offended and assaulted by that imagery. So I'm not asking for that, but what I am saying very clearly is that we shouldn't pay for it. Because what the reality is in Mississippi, that comes out of our tax-paying money.
Well, in fact, here in our building, in our lobby, they have a sea of flags of all 50 states.
Saw that.
That flag is downstairs.
Yes.
And the bottom line is, when you see it, it is jarring. So yeah, we're not in Mississippi.
Nope.
We're in D.C. and the same thing when you go to the U.S. Capitol, when they have all the flags, same thing.
Yeah. So Americans are paying for that. Go ahead.
I just wanted to add, because you touched on you visiting as a tourist somewhere. I come from the Gulf Coast. Our main economy, other than fishing, seafood, and things of that nature, was tourism. So it's actually been extremely detrimental to Mississippi's economy to have this battle flag as the welcoming mat to the hospitality state. It doesn't make much sense. And the pride and arrogance of our leadership and certain Mississippians not wanting to acknowledge the brutality in that, it's been affecting the generations, and it will affect the generations to come, including their children. If they can't acknowledge what that was about, how can we move forward? We need jobs. We need a housing market. We need these things in Mississippi, and I would just challenge my age and the generations coming up, like, Don't depend on your parents and your grandparents to try to make this right. We have to come together.
All right. Now, I can honestly say that I have traveled around the country and I have been to Mississippi on multiple occasions. And Mississippi does have a tremendous seafood industry down there, great seafood. And I'll say to anybody that's listening to this, if you get a chance to, and you really love seafood, there are several places around the country that have great seafood. If you're into salmon, go up to the state of Washington. I believe it's in the month of May, where the Red River salmon is running. And man, that Red River salmon is outstanding. Okay, so if you get a chance to go to, and you love salmon, that's the place you want to go, and I believe it's in May. You can look it up and see, and it's about 3 weeks where they're allowed to catch Red River salmon. That is some of the best salmon that you will ever have a chance to sample. Boston, state of Massachusetts, is a tremendous state as far as seafood is concerned as well. Lobster, if you love lobster, state of Massachusetts, Boston area, that's pretty much where you want to go if you want to get some outstanding lobster. If you like crabs, Maryland. Maryland is a place that you want to go for crabs and clams. If you basically just like Southern cuisine, Louisiana is a great place for seafood as well. Mississippi is probably one of the top states as far as the seafood industry is concerned. If you love your seafood, head down to Gulfport, Mississippi, and sample their wares. You will not be disappointed. Okay, getting back on subject, I really enjoyed all of my trips and visits to Mississippi, and I wasn't there just a day or two. I was there sometimes weeks at a time, and I dealt with all kinds of people in the business industry, and on the personal side. And I really enjoyed the people of Mississippi. I was fortunate enough to be down there normally in the spring or in the fall. The weather was great. The scenery was great. Dealing with the people that I dealt with, never had a single problem. So I'm going to basically say this. I don't think for the people that Mississippi flag is that big of a deal. It's only when it's made a big deal and it's thrown up into people's faces that it's something that is going to be taken away from them. That's when it becomes a problem. It's only when it's made a quote-unquote political issue that people get their haunches up about this flag situation. I honestly think that if they quietly just went ahead and took that symbol out of their flag and didn't make a big deal about it, yeah, people would notice, but I don't think there would be a large hoopla regarding having it done.
Last question. First of all, in terms of taking it down, are you looking for a statewide referendum? How are you looking to get it removed?
Well, the first thing that we know that this is a long process. I mean, we're wearing these shirts that say X the X right now, and all Genesis and what Attorney Moore is doing. All of these things are steps, and we feel like this rally on the rally today is just a continuum of work that has been happening for generations, by different people, and we're just picking up the baton, and we know we're in for a long haul. But what we want to do now at this stage that hasn't been done at least effectively before, is we frame this discussion from a Mississippi discussion to a national one, because America has compartmentalized Mississippi. So we feel, Americans feel, like it's not our problem. It doesn't have anything to do with
Right.
us. That's Mississippi's problem. But we are a state in the United States of America. And if we are, we want to espouse all these things to the world, egalitarianism, democracy, but we can't say, yeah, but with the exception of Mississippi.
Got it. All right, then we'll.
All right. It does not have to be a long process. Look at the state of South Carolina and how fast they got that done. So it really just takes the will of people of good conscience to get this done.